Hello, welcome, and sorry. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to another Maple Bitcoin Friday live stream. We got a good one in store today. This one's titled Optimizing Your Bitcoin Strategy in 2026. I'm Jor. I'm joined by my two good buddies here, Forrest and Rajat, and it is a pleasure to be with you all as usual. So today we're going to be sharing a little bit about some things that we've learned through the last couple of years in terms of our navigation through Bitcoin. As most people know, there's no real blueprint or guide or anything when you buy your first sats or your first amount of Bitcoin. And so we've learned a lot. And so what we're hoping to do today with the show is to just kind of talk through a couple of things. We have kind of an idea to have 1 point each that we're going to bring up, present, and then discuss between the three of us and those in the chat. So before we go any further here, I see some people crawling in, but make sure you press the like button. It helps the channel. It's kind of our main goal in 2026 is to grow our Maple Bitcoin YouTube channel. So shout out to you if you have been tuning into the Maple channel through all of our three channels. But yeah, where do you guys want to begin with this?
I think we were talking about before before we started recording, we were talking about the lessons that we learned or the things that we can carry into 2026. I thought that was a really great idea. Maybe we can start with that.
Yeah. And then just like usual, we will we'll start with a couple of discussions and then we'll go into some Q&A. So if you do have a question or an idea or a topic that you want to discuss, throw it in the live chat. And shout out, we do have the Noster live stream running today, which is good. We didn't have it last week. So anyways, where do you guys want to kick this off? I got a couple written down, but Rajat, you got something to start with?
Yeah, I got a graphic that I wanted to show you guys. So I was scrolling through X, doom scrolling, basically trying to get my reps in for the day, and I found this graphic. I thought this was really interesting. I've noticed that this can be applied to pretty much everything for personal finance, for money, for personal growth. Let's say you want to build your career. It also applies to stacking Bitcoin. If you, let's say, for example, if you go and buy as much Bitcoin as you can today and you go into debt and you stress yourself out and you get into this position where maybe you take on debts that you can't pay off, your intensity is really high, but it doesn't do anything because you're just stressed out and you don't really benefit from what Bitcoin is actually supposed to do for you. If you do it over time, let's say you do it consistently and you persist no matter what. Let's say the price falls and you're like, okay, I'm not just gonna stop buying. I'm going to learn more about this thing and I'm going to put more time into it. I'm going to figure out what it is. It's much more sustainable to be consistent over time rather than just going all in all at once and then not being able to sustain that level of activity. So let's say if you go into debt today, what if you can't even pay back your debts? It's like a lot of the Bitcoin treasury companies, what they did was they borrowed money to buy Bitcoin, like Saquon's and Nakamoto. They borrowed money to buy Bitcoin. They bought way too much, and then they had to sell. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? Because you're selling at a loss. You're losing money. You're making the wrong decision. Why not just stack over time? Make it a goal of stacking, let's say 10,000 Satoshis a day, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 Satoshis a day, whatever you can do. It's like Jor's message with you have only 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. Get as many of those as you can, right? If you try to get to one Bitcoin today, you borrow money, you're just going to stress yourself out. What if the price falls? You're going to hate yourself for doing it. And you might end up selling at a loss. You may end up in a worse position because you try to intensify your actions today rather than figuring out what's sustainable for the next decade or the next 2 decades, the next 3 decades. Don't use leverage. Don't be stupid with the money that you have. Use that money and make the decision to buy Bitcoin consistently and over time. Just keep creating value. That's what life is about.
Yeah, I think that's so key. The idea of intensity not being the strategy for any success in anything in life. Really, it's very rare that you can have one event in your life that is going to shape everything else and going to create a massive positive outcome because of one event. That's what gamblers hope for, basically. They hope for one thing to just drastically change everything. And it's just not the way that the world works. The analogy I like is you don't go to a trainer at the gym and say, make me buff in one day, one workout. Give me the one workout that I can do that's going to make me instantly buff. It's just not possible. You take all the substances in the world, but you still have to go to the gym, right? It's still about putting in the work. And you can optimize the work that you put in any field, but it's still just, you do have to put in work. And that's that consistency. I think that's incredibly important. I think that kind of goes into what my tip is, and it's really just from learned experience over this past year. I think in 2024, I was a lot more preoccupied with the price of Bitcoin. I think 2025, I looked at the chart less, the exchange rate of Bitcoin. I cared a lot less, and I just continued to implement the same strategy that I had in 2024, which is a regular dollar cost average that I don't even think about. And then if there's some news that I see, if something comes into my life that is, because you'll just see it, right? Like you don't have to go to the chart every day and see, oh, Bitcoin's down 2%. You'll hear it on the news. Like you could be completely tapped out of the Bitcoin sphere, and really there will be some sort of big enough event which corresponds with a price decline where it becomes important for you to do a lump sum. So that's what I do. Like I'm on Twitter already, so I just buying regularly, and then I see a bunch of tweets about, oh, Bitcoin's crashing like crazy. I'm like, okay, great, awesome. It came into my life, the information that I needed to know that Bitcoin's price is down. Now I'll go buy way more. So that's my strategy, is dollar cost average. That's that consistency. And then lump sum is sort of the optimization of that when the price is down. And then there's no intensity around my strategy with Bitcoin at all. There's no panic. There's no panic about price. That's what I think a lot of people do. It's just about buying Bitcoin, and over time knowing that I'm buying a fraction, a piece of this finite pie of the new monetary network.
Great way to put it. Yeah, I love both those boys. Just kind of going off of Rajat, it sounds like we might even have way more than 3 during the show today. So we're 7 minutes into it. We already got 2 down. But that's good, because I had about 5 or 6 things written down. I was hoping to carry some into the Maple Bitcoin happy hour today, but we'll just see where she goes. So the consistency part of that's one thing that I've tried. I never did it before. I was kind of like Forrester, where I would just, every time I got money, I would just smash buy regardless of the price. But I have found it very beneficial to set up these different recurring buys, which is kind of like a DCA strategy there, because it automates it. It kind of takes you completely out of the picture. You use something like River or Strike or Bitcoin Well, and it just automatically pulls out of your bank account without you having to do anything to make decisions. It basically removes all emotions from it. And if you're somebody like me who says 1 sat eventually one day will equal $1, right now you can trade $1 for 1,000 sats. That's kind of the realm. Even if it goes from 90 to 110, that's kind of the ballpark of what you can get there. So when you're thinking out in the future like that, of course you want to make that trade today. And so in terms of like the consistency, that's one thing that I do every day on the live streams, is we just buy some Bitcoin. If the price is down a little bit, we buy more. If it's the same, we buy the same. If it's up, we buy a little bit less. And then it's kind of like an intelligent way to do it, but you're still doing it every day. And that's the message at the bottom of the spreadsheet that we use, is like, it does not matter how much you buy. The only thing that matters is that you buy. Because again, you're capturing that spread between $1 and 1,000 sats every day. You're capturing that. So it really doesn't matter if you're spending $1, $5, $500, you're still getting that spread right now. And as long as you do it every day for a very long time, that's going to turn into something very substantial for anybody who's doing that. So I love that. My own thing that I had here, well, like I said, I had a couple here. But one thing that I've noticed lately, and this seems to be just kind of a trend from me talking to people, me paying attention to things, the chats and stuff like that, is there's a lot of people out there who know how to buy Bitcoin. There's a lot of people who are growing their conviction in Bitcoin, which is great. But I feel like there's a lot of people who are lacking the actual use of Bitcoin. Like they don't actually know how to use their Bitcoin. And you might say, well, I don't need to spend my Bitcoin. don't need to use it for anything right now. That's not really the point that I'm trying to make. The point is that you do know how to do it, because that's the way to verify that you actually still own that Bitcoin. Because I've seen people in the last little while where they just kind of have this process, even if they're doing a smash buy or a DCA that's kind of recurring and automated, they're just sending it to the wallet. And that's good. Everything works. You see the balance going up. Anybody can look at that. But the problem that people have had that I've been talking to is that they don't actually know how to send that Bitcoin, and if you don't know how to send that Bitcoin, you don't actually own that Bitcoin. That's the whole part of this. So I feel like a lot of people are spending too much time price watching, like we alluded to here, but also just skipping over the foundational aspects of Bitcoin, which isn't, again, not just for your own learning and your experience. It's to make sure that that Bitcoin balance you're seeing on the screen actually belongs to you. You actually know how to use the key to that Bitcoin.
I think seeing that Bitcoin move, it actually gives you a new level of conviction. Like when you actually make the transaction happen, and then you see,
100%.
this global ledger, this thing that everybody in the world has to have on their computer. Everybody, like whoever is running the Bitcoin network, whoever's running a node, has to have this transaction on their computer, and they're confirming that that's what happened. The first time I saw it happened, that's what opened my eyes to, okay, this is something this is different. Like I used to work in banking. I worked at TD, I worked in the branch, and I'd see all these people. They'd come in, they'd be like, oh, I need $3,000. And then they'd be asking them questions, and they'd be like, what do you need it for? Why are you taking this out? Why didn't you tell us about, like, why aren't you, like, are you under some kind of coercion? Whatever it was, people come in for, like, let's say $20,000 in cash, and they're like, you should have told us earlier. We can't give it to you right away. You can give us an hour, whatever it was, like whatever the reason was. The amounts, the amounts don't matter. It's more about the fact that you have to rely on somebody else versus you see it happening yourself because you did it. You put in the transaction yourself, and it shows you how much power you have now. But you have to understand, with power comes huge responsibility. So back to what Jor is saying there, if you're going to give your power to somebody else, let's say you have the Bitcoin ETFs and all you're worried about is, oh, I'm going to have more fiat in the future. I'm going to have more dollars to spend. I'm going to be able to buy more things. You just leave your Bitcoin with that brokerage or the ETF provider, whatever it is, the crypto exchange, whoever it is you leave it with, they have that power. You don't have any power over that money because you can't move it. You can tell them to move it, but you didn't do it. They did it. You don't have the private keys to that money. That money is not yours. It's like if you owned a house and you gave the key, and let's say the bank doesn't want to give you the keys to your house. Do you actually own it?
Yeah.
No.
You have to call the bank every time you want to get into your house.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Basically it. Yeah.
And that's the thing that people are forgetting about. That's the part that's important. People think, oh, this thing isn't going to make a difference because they've never sent a transaction. They don't see the movement with their own eyes. They don't contribute to it themselves. They just see other people doing it and they think it's a scam because of that. But I mean, until you do it, the way that I see it, you can't really have an opinion on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and Bitcoin in a lot of ways is very theoretical and sort of you're having to always understand it through the lens of something else that you understand. Like it's digital gold, but it's not digital gold. That's just a really like simplistic way to begin to understand one aspect of how it's built. You know, it's multi-ledger accounting. Okay, but what does that mean? Why do we need financial accounting and ledgers to begin with? What does it mean to have a network of nodes that all enforce rules? It's like you have to begin to understand all these things. And I think that, Rajat, you're really right about sending a transaction. It gives you another anchor point to understand the reality of what this is and how useful it is and what it actually is. And I think that's incredibly important because for most people in Bitcoin, the reality of Bitcoin is the fiat price of it. That's what they care about. That's their understanding of it. They might have some semblance of understanding beyond that, but that's their main focus point. I think too many people are in this for the fiat gain, really. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down to beginning to understand these things, but a lot of it does come down to the fact that I think a lot of people are also they don't like responsibility, and Bitcoin, to use it properly, it forces you to become responsible with your money. I think people are very used to just having a bank account, and they kind of put up with oh, what are you doing with $1,000 you want to withdraw, or where'd you get the couple of grand that you're going to deposit in cash, right? Like they're suspicious of you for having money. It's crazy. And it's a complete paradigm shift, and it's very hard to comprehend if you have no anchoring points. And I think sending Bitcoin, having self-custody Bitcoin, all of these broaden your understanding of Bitcoin, and therefore increase your conviction of what this is.
Yeah, the conviction, like you guys said, like when you send your first Bitcoin transaction, and not even just from like an AQUA wallet or your exchange or whatever it is, but going through the process of using your sign device to sign the transaction, you broadcast it, you followed through the mempool. That's a liberating experience. That was a life-changing moment for me. And I've done it hundreds of times now, and it never gets old. You never get tired of doing that, and you're never not in complete disbelief that this is a real thing that we have access to right now. It's crazy. But I know you guys both have talked to people in the last year, and I've talked to a couple of people even recently who have been doing everything like we were talking about here. They have the conviction, they've been buying, they've been doing it consistently, they've been sending it to their cold storage wallet, they have it set up, but a lot of them don't actually know how to use that cold storage device, and they've actually never used it to send Bitcoin before. And that's a problem. There's a lot of people panicking right now because either they're sending it to an address that they actually don't have the key to, which I know you guys have been a part of a situation like that. But it's like, it's easy to do that. It's very easy to set up a wallet and generate a receive address and send the Bitcoin there. The hard part, and the thing that people really need to pay attention to, is making sure that you can actually send Bitcoin out of that wallet. Because if you can't, you don't own that Bitcoin. It's just there. It's there that you've been sending it to, but you don't have access to it, which means you don't have the ownership to it. So that'd be my challenge to people, is like, even if you've done it before, go through the process sometime this weekend of sending a transaction. Just give yourself some peace of mind to know that you actually have whatever balance you're looking at that's been going up and down and up and down. It'll give you peace of mind that you actually own that Bitcoin, or have the keys to it, I guess.
Yeah, you have the private keys, because you can have the public keys and you can be receiving Bitcoin to the derived addresses that your public key have created. But if you deleted your seed phrase, if you deleted your private key from your hardware wallet that generated it, you can be receiving Bitcoin to your public key forever and never have access to it. Because if the case is that you haven't sent a Bitcoin transaction, I think people will recover their wallets using seed phrases, and that's one way to verify that you have private key ownership. But sending Bitcoin is another, and it's a very simple thing, and I do it on top of restoring a wallet. It's one of the first things I do when I guide people through self-custody. It's receiving a transaction, and they're very, okay, wow, I've received the transaction, I can see it. And I say, that's only half of it. If you can't send that back out, you don't have private key ownership. So send that back to where you got it. And now you know that this wallet functions in its entirety. And it's one of the ways to know that you have ownership of your Bitcoin, because you can't own Bitcoin. You can only own the private keys to be able to move Bitcoin. That is what you own with Bitcoin.
Yes, 100%. Before we go any further, I just want to give a couple big shout outs here to number one, Letha, who zapped 5,000 units of freedom, and Moravian, who zapped 10,000 units of freedom. And we got Nick with 100, 21 with 21, Sin Diesel with 18 and a 45. And somebody sent 888 FUs to our QR code. So hot start to the show today, boys. Big shout out to everybody who's on Nostr and supporting the Maple Bitcoin community here. So thank you. Yeah, I think that it's a very important part of the process. And again, mostly for peace of mind, because I think even if everybody went through this and there was 1 or 2 people who were like, oh shit, I actually don't have the private key to this, or I've been sending it to an address that I actually don't have the private key for. That sucks. But at least you're not going to do it for the next year and the next year and the next year. At least you've kind of learned there that, hey, I've been sending this to an address, even though it was an error. It was a very expensive lesson, but at least going forward, you can start sending Bitcoin to an address and a private key that you actually control. So that's why I kind of wanted to throw it out there today for people. Just, again, rare case, but I really feel like the majority of people that are here and in the communities have never actually gone through the process of sending Bitcoin before.
I think that's something that you should do when you set up a wallet. I've actually spoken with people who, let's say they've set up a wallet and they send Bitcoin to it, but they've never tried sending Bitcoin out of it.
Right.
Everybody should be doing that. Even if it's a small transaction, try it at least once. Even if you send it to yourself, just try to move it. Try to the point of the point of what I was saying before is that you can send. So I was saying you can make a change on that network on the Bitcoin blockchain. You can make a change on it. The point of what I was saying there is that you can write transactions on the Bitcoin network, and that's what your private key does for you. So let's say, for example, if you can't send a transaction to yourself and your private key doesn't allow you to do that, that means that your private key isn't right. So let's say if you wanted to send Bitcoin from your own wallet to your own wallet in a different address, you should try doing that. That's the first thing that you should do. When you get a small amount of Bitcoin, first thing you should do is try to send it back to yourself, create a new address, send it to that address, and see if it shows up on the Bitcoin blockchain. So let's say if you go to, I'll share my screen here, I'll show you mempool. So if you go to mempool, this is a blockchain explorer where you can see every transaction that's ever happened, right? So if let's say you go to this website, mempool.space, and then you go into this block here, this is a block. This has an aggregate of transactions. So it has 866 transactions on it. If we scroll down, we can see this is a transaction. This is a transaction. What you can do is you can actually search for a specific address on this website, and you can see the transactions that happened within that address. So let's say this is your address. I'll open this up. I'll copy.
Oh,
This is your address. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that this is a pretty nice balance for whoever's wallet this is.
It's probably a minor
An exchange or a minor. Yeah.
Minor. Yeah, I think it was which I don't even remember which one it was. But anyways, let's say we go to this address here. The person who owns the private keys to this address can move this Bitcoin. Let's say, for example, there was a client that I dealt with and Forrest dealt with. What that person was doing is they were sending Bitcoin to an address and they had never tried to send a transaction out. If you never try to send a transaction out, how do you know that those private keys are even yours? So let's say this person, let's say they've been sending Bitcoin to this address for however long, and you can see they've moved Bitcoin in and out. They've sent transactions, they've received transactions. Let's say, for example, let's say in this case, this person has never sent a transaction from this address before. How do they know that they can move it? They have all this wealth in Bitcoin, $21 million worth, but how do they know they can move it? They don't know. They don't know if it's their Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing as having your Bitcoin on an exchange. If you can't do the transaction yourself, let's say if you don't have private keys for that Bitcoin, it's not yours. If
Exactly.
the private keys that you have are wrong, then it's not yours. And go ahead, Forrest.
Yeah, there's that example of that guy who his hard drive got thrown away into the landfill.
Yes.
And he has 1,000 Bitcoin or whatever it is. I can't even remember, but he doesn't own it. If he owned it, it wouldn't be a problem because he doesn't have the private key. So he received all that Bitcoin. I think it was from mining. So you could say, well, he owns that Bitcoin, but he doesn't own anything because he doesn't have the private key to it. The private key is the only actual proof of ownership.
Yeah, and so this is I'd say this is an important thing for people to do kind of on a regular basis. Like you don't have to go crazy with it. You don't have to do it once a week. But again, just to give yourself peace of mind in case you are sending it to an address that's out of your control. Like even if you had the keys to the COLDCARD that you know how to use and everything, there's a chance that somewhere along the way you've been sending it to the wrong address. So what everybody can do here, and I think what we're trying to explain to people here, just go through the process. Everybody listening to this stream right now is either, yeah, I know how to send a Bitcoin transaction. I've sent several before. I know what's going on here. Or they're like, maybe I should go through the process of this because I actually don't know. I've never sent a transaction before. So if that's you, you should, I said this weekend, but today, go through the process of like whatever balance you see there in your wallet, try to move some of that out of it. Otherwise, that balance you're looking at might not even be yours. And I'm not saying it's somebody else's. You did that. Like Forrest is saying here, he mined that Bitcoin fairly. It belonged to him, but he didn't have the private key to that wallet. And so he couldn't move the Bitcoin and therefore didn't own the Bitcoin that was associated with that address.
Yeah. And I would actually suggest not just doing a software wallet or a hot wallet transfer, because you're not really going to be seeing the application of your private key to verify a transaction. It's just going to happen for you because that software is already storing your private keys. You're just going to press send and it's going to happen. If you use a hardware wallet, in your software companion, you'll construct the transaction, and then you'll have to send that fully constructed transaction to your hardware wallet, and your hardware wallet will say, yes, I have the keys, and sign a proof that says you can move this to the address that we've agreed upon. And then you're going to broadcast that fully signed transaction to the node network of Bitcoin. So without that, it's there's a lot of things with Bitcoin where a lot of it is sort of hidden purposefully to make it more user-friendly and things.
Yeah.
I think doing it in the less like hardware wallet is less user-friendly than a software wallet, right? It has an additional step you have to do. But that additional step is going to make you understand what is actually going on and how you're applying your private keys to the transaction you've created.
Yep. And that's a great example for us. Cause yeah, if you have like an AQUA wallet or something on your phone, and maybe that's another component of this that I think is important for people to understand, which is whatever device you're using here, to generate your private key. So let's say you set up a new wallet somewhere, whether it's an AQUA wallet on your mobile device. The mobile device is the key store there. It's the one that's holding the private key. If you generate a new wallet on your laptop, the laptop is now your signing device. That's what's storing the key for you. That's software. If you do it from a hardware device like a COLDCARD or a Jade or a Foundation Passport, that's the key store. That's what you need there. That's what's holding the private key. So it's important to kind of differentiate, because people think that if they set up a SPARROW wallet connected to their COLDCARD, that they're kind of synonymous there, but it's not. It's the COLDCARD that's actually storing your private key, and your private key is what you need to move the Bitcoin and essentially verify your ownership. So people see their balances in SPARROW and they're like, oh, this is how much Bitcoin I have. I can see all the UTXOs. I can see the addresses and everything. But if they don't have access to their COLDCARD, or they don't have their 20 or 24 words, that balance is just stuck there because the key is not stored in SPARROW. If it's connected to your COLDCARD, it's actually stored in your COLDCARD, and you can't move any Bitcoin without that private key. So lots of chat going on. Hey,
I've been arguing with some guy who, so VHF basically said he has a friend on X who said that I'm a douchebag because I don't like XRP. And I said to him, I'm happy that he thinks I'm a douchebag because I don't want XRP people to like me. So I think that's pretty key. I think everybody should have that goal in mind. Make an XRP investor hate you. It just means you're doing the right thing.
I think we all have a few of those haters at this point with the content we've created.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. No doubt.
Maybe that's a lesson that we can talk about. Stay away from altcoins, but most of all, stay away from XRP. And why? So the first thing to me, actually, let me pull up some information right now. The first thing to me was it was block number 32. What was it? XRP.
So
here it is.
For anybody watching this, even if you're somebody who's like, well, I don't have any XRP, I have no intention on getting XRP. Yeah. Maybe we'll spend a couple minutes here just to give people, I guess, a story or context when they're having these conversations with their friends or family or whoever it is. Like, because it's easy to say, yeah, stay away from XRP, it's a scam, but they're like, well, that's not what this guy said. He said it's the future of finance. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll just we'll provide some tools and resources for explaining to people why they want Bitcoin instead of XRP.
Yeah. And this is, I think this is a way for you to like there's a scale of Bitcoin to XRP, and then all the other coins come in between. So XRP is at the bottom, Bitcoin is at the top. So it's like if you're rate your level of pain from 0 to 10, 10 would be the most painful, and that would be XRP owners, and then 0 would be Bitcoiners because they're in total bliss, right? So here's how you differentiate between shitcoins and Bitcoin. So the number one thing that I like to look at is this. What you can see here is due to a mishap in XRP, in the XRP ledger's history, ledgers number 1 through 32,569 were lost. This loss represents approximately the first week of ledger history. Okay, so just that on its own, I want to just ask you guys a question. Let's say, for example, if you had a mortgage and your bank said to you that they lost the last 10 years of your payment history and you should just trust them on the balance, would you do that?
Hopefully you have your own ledger, but that's not the case because you cannot run a XRP node, right? They have essentially approved people that run it. Like I think it's like 16 different large entities run the XRP ledger, something like that. And those people, you're entirely relying on them to prove anything beyond even the 32. Like the 32,000 is missing.
Yeah.
We have no idea what's going on there. There's nobody to trust. There's nothing we can know. We have no idea what happened in those blocks. Maybe there's even more XRP we don't know about, right? There's just no way of really actually knowing these things. And then beyond that, you're still trusting this small group of entities to keep the ledger pure after that, immutable. And if they're not, then whatever you're doing on there is meaningless. There's no point of having an impure ledger, financial ledger.
That's the whole point. That's one of Bitcoin's biggest value adds, is that you can go back to January 3rd, 2009, the very first Bitcoin block that was mined, and you can follow every single transaction that's happened since then. If you go to block 0, you can literally audit yourself every single block, every single transaction, and therefore you know for a fact that whatever balances are showing up on the blockchain are accurate. So what the hell happened in those first 34,000 blocks? How many coins were created? Who did they go to? Who are they? Like, obviously, to me anyways, and this could be just a conspiracy, but like, why is that being kept from people? It's almost like the Federal Reserve, which has been around for 111 years now, where they tell us these amounts, that this is how much money exists, this is who owes what to who, but they've never been audited before. That's the beauty of the Bitcoin network, is it self-audits itself every 10 minutes. When these blocks are sent out to everybody running a node, all those blocks have transactions, and you can audit back to the very first Genesis block. So I think that's the biggest problem, like a no-brainer that you tell somebody. And if they can't really wrap their head around why that's a problem, then they're not ready for it anyways.
But trailing on what you were saying there, you can see the trail for every single transaction that's ever happened. Like this is an accountant's dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this is what they want, because they want to be able to track every transaction. They want to be able to see where money has gone. And then this is pseudonymous, so they don't even know who transacted, but they know that the coins actually existed. And like if you think about it, okay, so we are Bitcoiners and just people in general, the successful people out there, they have low time preference, meaning that if something takes longer, they're okay with it. And we're perfectly fine with that. So one of the things that really stands out to me here, you can see here, this loss represents approximately the first week of ledger history. Did they find this out? Let's say, for example, did they find this out a month later, 6 months later? How did they find this out? If it's just the first week of history, I don't think that they should be sacrificing everything in the future over that first week of history. What is this? What is this disrupting? Was there some kind of fraud that happened that the world doesn't know about that maybe changing this would completely disrupt, and the people who defrauded the system lose all their coins. Is that what's happening here? How is it possible if a financial system is decentralized for the records to be lost? This shows you it's not decentralized. And then there's something else here. Who owns all the XRP? In the beginning, so 80% of it was given to Ripple and 20% of it was given to insiders.
And the first week was lost. So who the hell
And the
knows
first
what
week
was in
was
there? Like there
Exactly.
could have literally been billions of tokens given to these people and there's no record of it. That's a huge, huge problem.
Yeah.
Like how could people not see that that's a massive problem?
The people who run it now, so there's also Brad Garlinghouse. They don't have a business. All they do is sell their coins. That's how they make money. That's how they bring money in. And they have a shitload of these coins. So their goal is to make sure that public perception stays great. Maybe that person is a paid bot telling people not to listen to me. How do you know that? There are more than enough people who don't think I'm a douchebag. So this one person who owns XRP thinks I'm a douchebag, and because of that, you're gonna. It's a stupid decision to make when you look at all these facts. Like it's not that I'm a douchebag; it's that he doesn't want the public to know that he's holding a shitcoin. Even
Literally.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I posted something yesterday. Do you guys know that guy? The world's highest IQ.
Yeah.
He blocked me on X because I was talking shit about XRP.
Nice.
Right, and if somebody was talking shit about Bitcoin, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to block them. I just mute them. I don't care if they respond because the comment section will take care of it. Right? If they are going to, right? But with XRP, nobody's there to take care of it because everybody who's thought through this knows it's a scam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, anybody that doesn't believe in the dead internet theory, which is that a huge amount of traffic and a huge amount of engagement and everything is bots, they haven't been in an XRP comment section before. It's unbelievable. It actually is really unfortunate that as Bitcoiners, we end up having to talk about XRP and that people lump these two things together as cryptocurrencies, because XRP, when you actually start really digging into what it is basically the complete opposite of what Bitcoin is. It is a centralized, privately controlled token that is startup cash for a CBDC consulting company. It's, if you ever wanted to support something that was the exact opposite of freedom money, you would hold XRP and you would support the dream of Ripple Labs. It's really just that simple to me. And the reason I said it was a scam in the comment sections is because scams can be there's all sorts of different types of scams, but essentially the scam that XRP is doing is lying about what it is. They're lying about what they're doing, about who's using it. There's a central organization lying about it. They're actively engaging in the propagation of those lies to benefit financially from it. That can't really happen with Bitcoin. There is no central organization of Bitcoin that profits from that. It's completely decentralized in the realm of ideas that get shaped by people who talk about Bitcoin. There is no, we all have our own individual incentives, but there is no one controlling incentive that gets pushed through us as Bitcoiners.
If you think about it, if Brad Garlinghouse were to die, what would happen to XRP? Versus, let's say, if any random person who talks about Bitcoin were to die, Bitcoin would see no change. That's how you have to look at this. Is there, with Bitcoin, there are so many different heads. If one person dies, 10 people will take their place. With XRP, there's one person who basically, or like 3 people in this case, who run the whole thing.
Yeah, one company.
Right, and their goal is to the company, exactly. Their goal is to make sure that your perception of XRP is good. And I'm not offended by people calling it. So I'm talking to VHF here. VHF said, "No worries, what other people think of you." I'm not offended. I just don't want people to lose money. I don't want you to. If you're watching my videos, I don't want you to go into these other coins, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that you know that, because people will tell you that I'm trying to scam you. People will tell you that these Bitcoiners are getting paid. They're going to do that. They're always going to do that. You just have to be able to figure it out for yourself. It's not that XRP people are bad people. It's just that they're completely misinformed on what money is. And if you learn from somebody who's misinformed, you're going to be misinformed as well.
There's 100% a lot of ignorance or
Yeah.
misinformed people within the community of holders, but I would say there's actually really ill intent individuals within there too that are purposely trying to pump their bags and
Yeah.
and don't care about other people. I think that's the other thing too, is like people are always like, oh, like Bitcoiners can't keep this altcoin out of their mouth, right? They have to keep talking about it because they're trying to push it down because Bitcoin's a dinosaur and so slow and stuff. That's not why we talk about these things. We don't care about them. We don't need to push them down to elevate, Bitcoin. That's not the point. The point of trying to talk about these things and discuss them is to shed light on their real problems and how people are being tricked by them or just not understanding those problems in hopes that individual people get better with their finances and with their allocations so they can elevate themselves in the world. That's the point of sharing this information.
Yeah. And the other part of it too is Bitcoiners by nature hate the fiat system. And to me, XRP is an extension of the fiat system, but worse. Well, at least with the Federal Reserve, there's some sort of safeguards, I guess you'd say, in place where there's board nominees and there's votes and there's this and there's that. XRP is basically a carbon copy of the fiat system, except with a corporation in charge. And it's like
hard to say which one's worse, actually, to be honest.
Well,
I don't know. I feel like if XRP became it had the power the Federal Reserve would have, it would be no different. It would be almost identical.
Right. And even the fact that you can't really, differentiate the two and say which one's worse, which one's better is the reason why we have so much hate towards XRP.
Yeah.
Because as Bitcoin, that's the system that we're moving away from. That's the system that has destroyed society for hundreds or thousands of years. That's what we're moving away from. Why would we move into something that's just the exact same thing spelled differently?
Yeah.
And
it's a digital form of it that's programmable and has higher surveillance than the current system. So it could be deemed worse in that way.
Right. Because even in the fiat system, at least if you have cash, you can take custody of that. There's no XRP physical tokens that you can exchange with people. And that's the thing is like XRP people, they get into it because they think that they have a better chance of getting rich because an XRP token is $3 versus Bitcoin being $90,000. So number one, ask yourself why that is. Maybe the market values it more. Look at the total supply. Look at the issuance of supply. Look at who has the ability to change and control that supply. They're much different beasts. The fiat price has nothing to do with it. That's just an illusion for people. And that's how people get sucked into that, is thinking that $3 token has way more room to grow than something that's $90,000. But they're missing the point of absolute scarcity, decentralization, that's in the sense that nobody has the ability to print Bitcoin. People have the ability to create XRP tokens. Night and day difference. They're not even in the same league.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just want to share this quick because Nick said this over on the Nostr chat. He said, I've met XRP people in real life. None of them have ever sent a transaction. They've never used it, but are convinced it's the future of money. They don't know about Lightning and they are incredibly uneducated. And that's actually everybody I've talked to in XRP. That's the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the narrative is crazy. I actually have, that's one thing I cannot understand about XRP is why it's so captivating to people. I don't understand why people become obsessed with it. They think that it's going to replace the SWIFT system and that it's going to be an interchange currency between different currency pairings. But there's no liquidity and there's high volatility, which makes it absolutely unsuited for that. The narratives constantly keep shifting as well because they need new narratives to hype it up. But I don't understand why those narratives are even enticing to people. Why would the SWIFT system allow itself to be competed out when it has an absolute complete monopoly on interbank transfers between, the G7 plus? It makes no sense why they would switch to a private company that has a different financial ledger. It's just the craziest concept ever.
It's funny when you say it out loud.
I wanted to give my opinion on that. I actually think I know exactly why people are so attracted to it, and I think it has everything to do with the chart, because people think
Hmm.
short term. They think about what's happening in the next, let's say, few hours, few days, few weeks. They see these lines going straight up, like you can see that. You can see that it goes straight up, right? It goes sideways for this long, and then it goes from 22 cents all the way to $3.30 in a few months, or in a few weeks, actually. Yeah, actually, in a few weeks. In a few weeks, you can see here it went from 22 cents on December 11th, 2017, to $3.32 on January 1st, 2018. That's 3 weeks. That's what people look at, and they think, oh, if I hold this, so it happened in 3 weeks. If I hold this for the next 3 weeks, then this is what's going to happen. And then in that, the problem though is in that, like you can see here, it went to this point where it came to this point, and then right after, you can see here in the next couple of weeks, so it went from
Then
2 to
Brad
4.
started dumping.
It started crashing, exactly. So by January 29th, it's already down to 64 cents, and the people are trapped. And it's that bias that they don't want to be wrong. It's ego.
Yeah.
It's their it's just it's how we all think, right? Let's say, for example, if Bitcoin were actually to fail, let's say something happens to Bitcoin and Bitcoin drops 90% in a day. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying, if the people who aren't aware of what's happening are going to think, oh yeah, it's going to go back up because every time it drops 90%, it comes back up, because they don't understand that something has changed. That's it's the education that they don't have. So a lot of people, they don't have the education on why XRP is a scam. So they buy up here and they see it come down and they think, okay, I'm stuck in here. I'm not going to sell because I think it's going to go back up. Every coin always goes back up. Shit coins always go back up. And then they just ride it through, and then they see it come back up again. They think, oh yeah, okay, this is the time when it 10x's, 20x's, 50x's. And this is the time when I'll make my money. Like this is pure volatility. Like this is pure there's manipulation. This is what you call manipulation.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
gambling too.
Right. And you're just expecting that this thing will do this over and over again. So it did this once, twice, 3 times. But the third time, you can see here, people here were super excited. I remember they were telling me, hey, oh yeah, it's gonna go to $30 this time. It's gonna go to 10, it's gonna go to $100 per coin by the end of 2025. And you're gonna be so angry that you didn't own it. That's just how people they get stuck and then they can't get out, because
I
they
think
have this ego, and they've told their family and they've told their friends and they've told everybody that, oh, this is going to go up, and they've gotten their family and friends to buy it. They haven't actually studied it, and they don't know, like, even like they don't know the basics. I did a debate with an XRP guy. He has a pretty big account. He has like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he's constantly posting, and people are constantly telling him that, oh, you're doing a really great job. And all these people in the comments, they haven't done the research either, right? So when I had this debate, I would recommend you listen to it, because when I had this debate, at the time I didn't know a lot of the things about XRP that I know now. And I still I like to say that I beat him, but I mean, that's not even the right way to say it. He had no clue how to respond, because he didn't even know half of these things that I knew. And all it took me was a few hours of research.
That's crazy. I think the other thing here too is you pointed out the sort of long drawn out lows that happen, and these create bag holders, right? These massive pumps to absolutely nothing creates bag holders, and it creates an army of people that have an incentive to hype the coin up, because they need the price to go back up so that they can sell it, or become even on their profit and losses on their crypto account too. So it like Ripple has the ability to basically control supply to a degree where they can hype the price up and then crash it down, creating another new army of bag holders to do all their bidding for them, to basically pump up the coin. But basically, I think, and this is actually, like, since going off of what you said, this made me think about how all the XRP stuff that I've seen is always in these time frames. So it's always XRP is going to go to, like, even the 276 IQ guy, he's like, watch XRP in the next 48 hours. And then nothing happened. And then he posted the exact same thing, reworded, but wait 24 hours XRP. And then XRP had a little pump and he said, told you. just wait. And it's like, it didn't happen before when you said it. And it's all a timing thing. It's like, get in now because it's going to have one of these rocket ups that the chart does show happens every once in a while, but you're never going to have that happen, or the likelihood. It's not even worth contemplating the likelihood of that happening while you hold this token.
And meanwhile, you're missing out on what Bitcoin does, which is Bitcoin takes its network. Every day there's more and more people fighting over the scarcity, absolute scarcity, not XRP scarcity, but absolute scarcity, where nobody can change that. Because that's the thing, that a difference between a centralized token, even though they claim to be decentralized, they're not. People out there with XRP tokens have the ability to change the code of XRP and therefore the supply of XRP. And so it's different when there's a bunch of people growing every day fighting over the same amount of scarce units, the 2.1 quadrillion sats, versus people who are just trying to time it right. And they're hoping to get on the train at the right time, the roller coaster at the right time, cash out at the right time. To me, it's just desperation. That's what it is. It's people who are desperate, who don't have the patience to see this thing through. And they're hoping to turn their $500 into $50,000 so they can pay off their debt and they can make their family happy and they can make these promises that they've been trying to make for the last 10 or 20 years in the fiat system come true on it. But that's what it is. It's desperation and gambling. And that's the complete opposite ethos of Bitcoin.
Yeah. And I don't think these people understand that, okay, when the price does peak, the insiders are selling so that they can liquidate their XRP at a premium.
Yeah.
This is the price in terms of Bitcoin. You can see it goes up and then it slowly just goes down. It goes up. It keeps doing that. It's going to keep doing this for a very long time. Like it's elevator up, but then it's what is it? Escalator down, I guess. Yeah. So it goes up, goes straight up, and then it comes down, and then it comes down, it comes down, it comes down, and then it goes up again. It gets people a little excited. But the important thing here, so before I was showing you that chart between XRP and the US dollar, and it seemed like it made a new all-time high, but this is the price in terms of Bitcoin. It was in May of 2017. Actually, I'll go to that January of 2018 that I was talking about before. January 2018, one XRP was worth 23,000 satoshis. You see it on the side there, over here. Now, one XRP is worth 2,146 satoshis, or 2,307 satoshis. What happened there?
The price 10% of what it was, right? Is that what it was?
10%, exactly, yeah. 10%. So the price in terms of US dollars went to a new all-time high. It went from $3.38 to $3.70 or whatever. But then the actual price, which is the price in terms of Bitcoin, fell 99 or 90%.
And it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, Jory, you were bang on there talking about it being basically a symptom of the gambling culture that we're in. And the gambling culture is an effect of the fiat system that we've had for so long. The XRP would have gotten zero traction and been unable to do what it's doing right now if we had been on a sound money standard this whole time. I mean, people could say the same about Bitcoin, but that's because Bitcoin is sound money and only exists because there isn't sound money prior to it. So yeah, I mean, it's just a symptom of gambling culture.
Yeah, and again, the reason why we're doing this is because this is how you differentiate between Bitcoin and shitcoins. This is probably going to be there's somebody saying enough of Maple XRP, and I get it. You don't want to hear more about XRP, but learning about this will probably be the best decision that you make.
Well, everybody in this journey to Bitcoin has to go through this to some degree.
Yeah.
So there's different people at different levels that might just tune into this randomly, see something about, oh, Bitcoin strategy 2026. Okay, cool. Click it. And then they're in a bunch of different altcoins, and you can relate XRP to every single other one too.
Yeah.
It's XRP is just the worst example of it, basically.
Yeah.
But all the other ones have
team.
Yeah. But all the other ones have some degree of this as well.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of the points we were talking about, how to optimize your Bitcoin strategy and level up in Bitcoin in 2026. And one of the things that I actually had written down was teach people about Bitcoin. Whether it's in person, like your friends and your family, educate other people on Bitcoin. But it's also more than that. It's starting a YouTube channel. It's starting a podcast. It's starting a blog. It's starting a platform or an account that talks about Bitcoin. And the reason I say that is because I know not everybody wants to be on YouTube, what's watching this show right now. And trust me, before I started YouTube, I had zero intentions of being a YouTube guy. It wasn't. But I felt so compelled to do it because it was so important to me. And the more I got into it, I was trying to find things that were wrong with Bitcoin. And the further I looked, the more intrigued I became. And so for anybody out there who's a Bitcoiner today in 2026, just understand the responsibility you have, not only just for yourself and your family, but for those around you. For anybody who's interested, you don't want to be banging on the door like a Mormon and trying to sell people on the book of Satoshi. But I think if you kind of take the mentality of that you want to start teaching this to others, it does a couple different things. Number one, you're going to start paying closer attention to the things that really matter in Bitcoin, which is more than just the fiat price. And as you teach people, you learn and you get feedback too. That's one of the biggest things that has helped me in my Bitcoin journey, is talking about Bitcoin, even though I wasn't an expert on it. I'm still far from an expert. But somebody in the comments would say, Jory, you're a dipshit. You're wrong about this. And I'd be like, screw you, man. But then I'd actually look at it and I was wrong. And so then I would learn. That was a good learning lesson for me. And maybe I changed something, or the next time I talked about that in a video, I did something different. So being equipped with this knowledge, both Bitcoin, crypto, XRP, I know we don't want to invest in it, but it is very important to have this knowledge to pass on to others in hopes of saving them from wasting their hard-earned time and energy on an absolute scam shitcoin like XRP.
I think one of the greater, even like after you do this for a while, let's say you keep doing it, you keep helping people, eventually what you're going to notice is that you can monetize it. And you no longer need to work your job that you hate, because now you can talk about this thing, you can help other people, you can improve their lives, and they're willing to pay you for it. So do it. I think this is probably one of the best decisions. This is one of the best decisions I made. Talking about Bitcoin, people like it. They want my opinion, and I'm willing to charge them for it, and they're willing to pay me for it. And there's a lot of demand. People are willing to pay me for my opinion, which to me, it sounds wild. And before I even started talking about Bitcoin, I thought it was crazy. I had wanted to start a personal finance business, but Bitcoin helped to accelerate it. And actually, I wanted to mention the Skool community here just quickly. We have a specific video on the Skool community about how to build a business on social media and get more clients. This is an entire course, a 40-minute video. We have other courses as well. So there's one where we talk about cash and Bitcoin is all you need. There's another one about how you can sell MicroStrategy, covered calls for income. There's all kinds of content in this Skool community, but that one specifically will teach you what we're talking about here. You can not only start talking about something you're passionate about, but you can make money from it. So why not? I mean, I think this is probably one of the best ways to make money, because it's very fulfilling. You get to see people making a difference in their lives, and once you learn about Bitcoin, you want to tell people about it. I would feel crazy if I wasn't able to tell other people about what I know. It's just always going through my head, and if I don't have an outlet, I would be talking to my wife constantly, and I don't think she wants to hear me talking about Bitcoin all day every day. So this is my outlet, and I make money from it. There's two huge benefits from this. You can start your own business based on this, and I don't think that you'll dislike that. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. I enjoy it a lot.
Yep. That's such a beneficial video for people, I think, Rajat. And there's a comment in here earlier from Camille who basically said something along the lines of, even if you just join the Maple Bitcoin Skool community for a couple months, like if that's all you can afford, it's worth it, because you go through all these videos here, the 5 episodes up top there, that's going to grow your conviction. If you are interested in starting something like a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast, this is going to be a lot of really good info for you. But not only that, like for your own personal stack here, like I really think that people still get too mesmerized by the fiat price of Bitcoin, and they don't even think about what their Bitcoin's actually worth in the future. And so instead of price watching, instead of worrying about XRP and the charts and what El Salvador is doing or whoever, SBRs. You have to focus on the sats that you have and protect those. That should be everybody here's main priority right now, is protecting their Bitcoin. And so this is kind of what we set up the school for, is to equip people with this information, whether it's on a software wallet, a COLDCARD, how to do that, how to store your private keys, how to send a transaction. All this stuff is in there. So again, like Camille said, even if you sign up for a couple months and decide that that's all you need, you don't really want to be part of the community and leave, that information that you get there could be the difference between you having your Bitcoin in a decade from now, or your family having your Bitcoin in a couple decades from now, and not. And it's such a small price to pay, along with the time that you put into it. But I just think that this is critical for people to pay less attention to the price and more attention to actually securing those precious hard units of Bitcoin.
Yeah. And get that information out there. People will benefit from it. People will like it. They'll be happy to hear about everything they have to say about Bitcoin. And back to the point that we were making, join the community, join the Skool community. Jor, maybe you can send the link in the chat, or maybe you can share it as well. But join that. And then other than that, I mean, teach people about Bitcoin. They'll benefit from it. They'll actually like it. They'll find a lot of value in it because it's going to change their lives. It's going to help them to get out of the fiat system. That's what we want. That's my goal. My goal is to get people, as many people out of the fiat system as possible. I don't want, it hurts me to see people saving in fiat because I know that they're losing value over time. And I've dedicated my time to making a video every single day over the last year, maybe a couple of days that I skipped, but that's what you have to do to help people. And I think it's so fulfilling, like I said before. So do it. It'll help you to learn more, and it'll help other people. So why not?
Yeah. And if you boil down, basically all work is helping. If you're a dishwasher at a restaurant, you're helping clean up the dishes. If you're in a factory, you're helping assemble a gizmo, right? You should be aiming to help in the most meaningful way that you believe in the way that you believe is the most meaningful in the world, because then your impact will be greater if you're able to help in that way. That's what we've all done here with Bitcoin. That's what drives us to create this. And the more you help in the world, it's the idea of value for value. The more help you do, the more value you create, the more value you will receive back. It's pretty basic and simple in that way.
Yep. And that's nature, man. That's why Bitcoin makes so much sense to us. And that's why something like XRP doesn't make any sense to us, because it's not natural. It doesn't follow the laws of the universe. If somebody can create tokens out of thin air, that goes against nature, because the premise of energy neither being created nor destroyed, only transferred. If XRP and Brad Garlinghouse created energy, essentially, that's a scam. That's against nature. That's what fiat is. Yeah. And that's what we're working our little butts off here to try to get people away from. And remember that everybody here is on Team Bitcoin, right? So whether it's something as small as liking the video today, leaving a comment, whatever it is, join the community, sending a zap, that's pushing this whole movement forward. And if you care about this stuff as much as we do, even a fraction of it, you should understand your role on Team Bitcoin and see what you're doing to kind of push this thing forward. Because I think the three of us agree on this, and most people in the chat probably do, which is Bitcoin's going to be here in 100 years from now, whether we have this YouTube channel or not. But how long does it take? How much of it do we get to enjoy in our lifetime? And we're the ones who get to control that. We're the ones who get to actually be the master of that, or the captain of that ship. And so the more energy you put into this system, whatever that looks like to you, the faster that day is going to come where Bitcoin's spread and ingrained in society. And I think that that's what we all want here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're not talking to the institutions. We're not talking to the companies. We're talking to the people.
Exactly.
And the people benefit the most from Bitcoin. And the way things are going, there's probably going to be a temporary time where people will feel like they've really missed out on this thing, where corporations and institutions, they've done the research, they've done the hours that's required, and they're accumulating and they're concentrating the holdings from the OGs who are currently have the concentrated of holdings. and there'll be a redistribution eventually, but between then and, between those two time frames, there's going to be some people that are pretty salty for not having done the work and not having allocated to Bitcoin as their savings tool.
Yeah. Any other lessons that we've learned, I guess, how to optimize your Bitcoin strategy? What else? So the first one was consistency.
Yep.
What was the second one?
Not worrying about the price, not panicking at different
perfect.
price things, and just having a strategy that you can stick to in any environment, which is dollar cost average and lump summing combination.
Perfect. And then the third one was it the making sure you own the Bitcoin?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth one was stay away from shitcoins, especially XRP. And then fifth one was teach other people.
Yep.
And learn and continue to learn. Oh, that's really great. That's a really great set of ideas.
And for people, like most people in this chat, I think probably aren't going to be spending their money on XRP or any other tokens. I think if you're watching our stream, you're probably pretty on the straight and narrow for Bitcoin. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of shitcoins still mixed in with their Bitcoin, even though they're not buying them regularly anymore. They probably have a bunch on a ledger or a whatever wallet. What's that? Oh, Phantom. So
Tangent.
Yeah, just like understand the fact that this thing's moving one way. Bitcoin will leave you behind. And why would you store any of your other energy right now in a Zcash or a Caspa or an XRP? Even if you think they're going to go up in the future and they might go up, they're going to continue going down against Bitcoin. So instead of waiting for that and feeling the disappointment of that, just swap those for Bitcoin now. Like just straight up find something today or this weekend, trade all your altcoins for Bitcoin. You'll sleep better at night. You don't have to watch all the charts. You can focus on actually becoming more valuable, which is what we've been talking about here. And that's it. Swap it all for Bitcoin.
That peace of mind is so valuable. Just not having to think about, if I leave this, like whenever, so this is the difference between, so before I used to, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be almost like a gambler, right? I would spend money on just random 0 days to expiry options. And I'd constantly be thinking about, this is so stressful. This is so stressful, but I wanted to make money. And I of course, just like every other gambler, I didn't make money from it. I lost money from it. And that's perfectly fine. I used it as a lesson. And over time, I've transitioned to not buying 0 days to expiry options. And it worked out really, really well for me. And then, so there's 0 days to expiry options. That's an option where you can buy a stock by the end of that day, or you can sell it or whatever. And you make money from that volatile movement. Bitcoin is an option that gives you, it gives you an option to buy whatever you want, anything you want to, for the rest of your life. So when you think of it from the time horizon perspective, 0 days versus literally eternity, like for the rest of your life, you can transfer this to your kids, you can transfer this to your grandkids, your great grandkids. You have, so 0 day options are 0 days to maturity, whereas Bitcoin never matures. You can use it whenever you want to.
Infinity.
You have this freedom. Infinity, exactly. And you don't have to worry about what's going to happen in the short term. You don't have to think about, if I forget about this for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, it's going to be gone, or it's going to go to zero. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. I mean, it might dip a little bit, but let's say if you had logged off maybe a year ago, maybe Bitcoin would have fallen 10% in that time. If you had just forgotten about the noise, if you just tuned out all the noise along the way, Bitcoin didn't move that much. And it'll be there. Your private keys are still there. Sometimes I don't even check my wallets because I know that it's going to be there. I know that if somebody wanted to take it, they would have taken it a long time ago. If they had the ability to take it, it would have been gone months ago, years ago. But they can't because of how Bitcoin security works. Once you grasp that, it's very hard not to just feel free. You feel a lot more free because you're not constantly stressed out about how do I How do I make sure that my money isn't stolen from me? How do I make sure that I have this purchasing power when I need it? You don't have to think about that. It's a new level of freedom. You know it's there for when you need it, and you know that you can leave it there for as long as you want to. It blows my mind that more people haven't caught on to this, but I think that if people do catch on, it's going to probably lead to a much happier population in general.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean that comparison is so interesting to think about, the 0 days to expiry, and Bitcoin is basically a perpetual call option on the debasement of fiat currency, which is
Yeah.
an absolute certainty, considering that new debt creates the issuance of new money because the money does not even exist to pay off the debt. So they need to create more money to eventually pay off the debt in the future, like over time, right? So it's a financial certainty with the system that we have that new money gets created to pay back old money, or old debt. So that's what you're betting on, and Bitcoin never expires. So you can just hold Bitcoin as that infinite perpetual call option on fiat debasement.
A call option on fiat debasement and also a call option on truth. You're essentially betting that the world is going to value truth more than lies. And when we think about the XRP thing that we got into there, that's built on lies. The first 32,000 blocks are missing. That whole network, that whole system, that whole token, everything about it is built on lies. The fiat system, the Federal Reserve, 112 or whatever it's been now, 111 years of lies. And eventually, I don't know if everybody's noticed this or not, but we're kind of living through a mass awakening right now where people are looking at the truth, not just looking at it, but like pursuing the truth. We've lived a world of lies for 100 years. The fiat system is a lie. So you're betting on fiat debasement, you're betting on a decentralized future, and you're betting on truth. And to me, even if I'm wrong about that bet, I'll at least know that I was betting on the right thing in my mind. So that's what it is for me. I think that, again, going back to this, is if you think about it that far out, if you have the ability to see that far into the future and you have some sort of a picture of what this could look like when it's 50 sats for a tank of gas or 200,000 sats for a new truck, if you can see that far into the future, you take a look at the stack you have right now, your number one priority should be making sure that you can transport those sats safely into the future. You don't have to do anything. The only thing you have to do is protect the private keys to that Bitcoin. It's not easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but that should be everybody's here main priority in my mind. That's my main priority.
Yeah, just having it, like when you can imagine that that's going to happen, but if you don't have the Bitcoin, then what's the point of that happening? You don't benefit from it. Because in that time, let's say you don't protect your Bitcoin. Let's look at the worst case scenario here. You don't protect your Bitcoin. You still live in a fiat system. In that time, the value of the dollar is going to continue to decrease. You don't have your Bitcoin whenever that happens. At that point, let's say 50 sats per gallon of gas, it'll be $400 per gallon of gas. Will you have the dollars to pay for that? Probably not. Because you have all of your savings in Bitcoin. If you put all of you've basically put your past into Bitcoin here. If you don't protect that, then somebody else can take it and they can do whatever they want with it. If you don't protect, and the only thing that protects it is that really long string of letters and numbers. That's your private key. Protect it. It's like cash. If somebody can take it from you, they will. They 100% will. If they have the ability to take your money, your savings, your life basically from you, they will. Why not? Because then it gives them an advantage. It puts them ahead.
Yeah. And there's different ways of protecting that private key, which all need to be learned, right? It kind of starts as you buy Bitcoin, you have it on an exchange, you don't even have the private key. You're not really very well protected there because somebody else, you're giving over the protection responsibility to somebody else. You take custody in a software wallet. What are the vulnerabilities of the private key there? You're connected to the internet. You have all the vulnerabilities of software and of internet connection, like malware and keyloggers and screen captures and all sorts of different things. So then you move to a hardware wallet, but you have a seed phrase only. That's a single point of vulnerability. Then you go to a passphrase. Then you go possibly to a multi-sig, then a multi-jurisdictional multi-sig, then a multi-party multi-jurisdictional. There's a huge degree of how to protect your Bitcoin. And it just takes learning I think it takes learning each step and what the vulnerabilities of each step are, because there is no perfect solution to protect your private keys. And each one has trade-offs. And mostly as you go along with it, it becomes the trade-off is more protection for more complexity, which can also be a vulnerability. So there's probably a level where it becomes too complex for you and your situation, and you start actually going backwards in your protection of those private keys. So start to look at each one of those things that I said and figure out, okay, well, where am I now? Where can I try to get to? And what do I need to learn? Who do I need help from? Is it enough to watch videos and read posts, or do I need more than that, right?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with how much time you have too, but I wanted to share this quickly. I just kind of put this together because I think people really miss this component of it, right? So if you look at your current Bitcoin stack right now, it is the sum of the previously added value, assuming you've traded some stocks, some of your savings, some of the things around your house, some shit coins. You had all that built up in this energy that you were storing. And a lot of people here have transferred that into Bitcoin already. So that's the previous value that you've added to the world, plus what you're going to add in the future. That's kind of your stack you're looking at right now. If you lose that, this component's all gone. So however many sats you have today, or however many Bitcoin you have today, that's the sum of all the energy you've worked for in your life. So you might say, well, I got 10 million sats or 20 million sats. If I lose that, I can get it back right away. Well, no, you won't, because you're missing this component. This component would be lost. All of that work, all of that value you've contributed to the world is gone. And you're solely relying on your future value, which, if you subscribe to the theory of AI is going to become more valuable, robotics are going to replace humans, your value as a human is going to go down over time.
Your labor value.
Your labor value. That's a good point. Your labor value will go down. So that's why it's regardless of how much Bitcoin you have today, just understand that this is probably the most you will ever have. If something were to ever happen to that, it'll be very, very, very difficult to get that back, because you've already spent this previously added value. Again, if it was cash that you spent on it, or some stocks you traded, real estate, maybe you traded for Bitcoin, you've already used that and lost it. So you'll never get back to where you are today. And that's why nobody should be taking this stuff lightly.
Yeah.
We kind of started the show today with great power, which is what Bitcoin is. It's power. It empowers you. It gives you more sovereignty. With great power comes more responsibility. And so you can't shortcut this. You can't just sleep on this and hope everything's going to work out for you, because it won't. I mean, you could get lucky, but for the most part, I think that's where people should be allocating their energy, is protecting the sats that they have today, instead of just continuously chasing and chasing and chasing, or watching. Focus on something. Like Forrest said, figure out where you are today and just take the next step. You're not going to jump from a Phantom wallet into a multi-sig. You jump from a Phantom wallet to an AQUA wallet, and then to a SPARROW wallet, and then to a cold storage. So it just takes some self-audit, some honesty with yourself, and some focus, your attention on how to improve your security setup, because that's all that matters here.
Yeah. When Uncle Ben told Spider-Man that with more power comes more responsibility, he was referring to self-custody Bitcoin. So. Let's answer some of these questions. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was going to say it's a tremendous amount of power. And I want to give a quick shout out here to Quality Crypto, who said optimizing your Bitcoin strategy in 2026 is to not buy XRP. Straight up. And
That's
look at that, 10 pounds.
Well, this actually goes towards what you said there, right? If you're storing your previously created value in something that does not retain its value into the future, then you are losing that value over time. So that's the case of buying an inferior store of value. So
shout out to Quality Crypto. That's a big donation there. 10 quid, which I learned is a slang for pounds. 10 quid. And Nav sent 199 said XRP boys ride bikes without bike seats.
That's hilarious.
So thank you for the super chats, boys. We love the sats, but we also like the super chats because it helps the channel, gives the channel a bit of a boost. So thank you, fellas. There's another question here. Do you guys have any specific ones? This is the one that I saw. Also, this guy said some really nice things about us, so have a bit of an attraction to them. But is 2K monthly at 18 enough DCA?
Absolutely.
I
Do
said
more if
that's
you can,
huge.
but you're killing it.
2K is a lot
Yeah.
per month. I mean, that's at 18.
Yeah.
Impressive that you have that much extra ability to save. I mean, I don't know what your whole situation is, but I know I didn't have 2K at the end of the month when I was 18. I don't know, maybe I did, but I probably spent it on a bunch of nonsense that I literally cannot remember at this point.
Beer.
So yeah, exactly.
I just went to the compound interest calculator and did a quick calculation. If you can buy $2,000 worth of Bitcoin a month by 2036, so by the time, let's say you're 28, you'll probably have something like 1.5 Bitcoin if Bitcoin grows at 25% per year.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
surprising. I think that's more than enough.
I was going to say, like, I would be willing to bet that if you are 18 years old and you were saving $20 a month, what can you put that into the spreadsheet, Rajat? $20 a month for the next like 30 years. Like, let's say you're 18 years old and you want to retire by I hate the word retire. It's just, I don't think I'm ever going to retire. I never want to retire. I think that's a fiat. I think that's a psyop. I think retirement's a psyop personally. But anyway,
become financially free maybe is a better way.
I like to call it work optional.
Work optional. Yeah.
So you choose to work if you want to. I mean, we're probably all going to continue to work, but we don't have to if we don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So $20 a month for the next 30 years. What would that look like at the end of it?
Is that 20 CAD or US?
What do you have in there right now?
I got US.
Oh, okay. US. Yeah.
So 20 US would give you 33 million Satoshis if Bitcoin grows at 25% per year. But if it grows at, let's say, 15% per year, let's say over the next 30 years, it slows down, you get slightly less Bitcoin.
But what's that 0.33 Bitcoin or 33 million sats worth in 30 years from now?
If it grows at 15% per year, it's worth 2 million. If it grows at 25% per year, which I think is more likely, 24 million.
Wow.
If it grows at, let's say, 35% per year, this number is probably going to be crazy. I think it's going to be over like 500 million. Oh, 240 million.
And that costs 35,000 total.
Yeah.
Over 30 years.
$20 a month?
Yes. I don't know if that's accurate. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's pretty crazy.
It's one of those things. It's like people really need to dial in their focus on. I mean, you obviously have to enjoy the present moment and do what you can now, but like just understand how valuable these freaking Satoshis are going to be one day.
Yep.
And I think if people could take like a quick peek, if they were able to time travel 30 or 40 years ahead and see what the sats they have today would buy, I think they would completely look at this whole thing differently. Completely. Like they would pay no attention to what's going on in the news. They would pay all of their attention to making sure that they have that Bitcoin at the time, whatever it takes to transport the Bitcoin from today to then. That's what they would put 100% of their focus on. But people are distracted. People are distracted by the fiat price. They only value it based on that, and they have no ability to see into the future. So I think that's a really good way to. What do you got there, Rajat? What are you going to say?
I want to say I made a mistake. I think I had a client who had 0.3 Bitcoin or something like that. The person who buys $2,000 worth of Bitcoin per month, and if it grows at 25% per year, they're not going to have 1.5. They're going to have 1.3. So even that's not too bad. 1.3. Okay. 1.3 Bitcoin. In 10 years, they'll have 2036. They'll have 1.18, which is still not too bad. But again, the value of that is $1 million if it grows at 25% per year. And then that person who has who buys $20 worth of Bitcoin per month. Sorry, I had that. That's actually completely off. So I just wanted to make sure I corrected that. 25% per year annual growth. They'll actually have about $1 million, and they'll have put in 7,200.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
If it's 35%, they'd have $7.5 million from 7,200.
Crazy.
Yeah. 1.2, 1.3 Bitcoin for that person who's buying $2,000 a month. That's huge.
No doubt. Yep. That's everything. And it's only going to go up from there too. That's what absolute scarcity does.
Yeah.
Dave Simmons says, I wish they did more videos for Bitcoin holders between 0.1 and 0.5. Yeah. I feel like that's our main audience. That's who we talk to in most of our streams and our videos, is it not?
Yeah. We want you to get to 1.
Well, yeah, I mean, right there, we talked about somebody buying $20 of Bitcoin, and they end up with basically within that range, right? Or it was less than that.
No, they end up with less. They end up with 0.01.
Okay. So
1 million Satoshis.
After 30 years?
After, let me count. So $20 a month, 35%. I'll go 25% growth rate. $20 a month, 25% growth rate. 30 years, they'll have 1.3 million Satoshis.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay, so
which is still not bad. I mean, 1.3 million, that's worth 970K.
Right.
Yeah.
From $20 a month.
Yeah, but yeah, no, to answer that too and to comment on it. Yeah, I mean, that's I'd say none of our content is really geared towards any holders of any amount. It's just Bitcoiners in general. And then it's on you to relate that to where your current stack or where your future goals are. I think it's applicable to anybody.
Yeah, kind of what we're saying right now is like, even if you have 0.1 of a Bitcoin or 0.05 of a Bitcoin, you should be treating that with the value of like 5 Bitcoin right now, because that's how you should be thinking about this. It has nothing to do with the price today. Oh, sorry, Jed, I thought you had something else to share there. You're just getting fired up. Okay. Well, boys, we got 2 minutes till our happy hour starts here. We're going to start the happy hour off today with kind of an extension of, I got a couple more things written down here for people.
Nice.
What were we calling it? Like optimizing. Okay. Optimizing your strategy. So yeah, we would love to have you in the Skool community. Like Camille said earlier, even if you just join for a couple months, watch the videos, you're probably going to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that could actually be the difference of you taking that Bitcoin into the future for your family. And it's really impossible to put a price on that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So regardless, I think you get the community, you get the happy hours, but most importantly, there's so much good information in terms of like setting up a cold card, how to store your private keys, essentially how to make sure that your family has your Bitcoin in 20 years from now. All the considerations revolving around that. So the Skool community, you can scan this QR code, join. Right now, we're going to hop over and do our happy hour with it's us 3 and usually 25, 30, 35 people in there. I expect in a year from now, there'll probably be 100 or 200 people in there. That's just how the Bitcoin cycles flow.
Yeah.
So
like every session, 100 people.
Yeah. Just keep in mind, between the 3 of us, I'm sure if you were to book a one-on-one call with the 3 of us, it would probably cost, I don't know, $500, $600, $1,000 US, who knows? And you can literally join for free. I think there's a 7-day free trial that'll actually get you into the show today, which is stupid. But anyways, that's what it is. So we encourage you to join us. Rajad, do you want to show some of the other things that we got in there quickly?
Yeah, let me show it 1 second.
And I'll share that the link for people to join if they're watching on their.
Yeah, George just said it's stupid that it's free, and you should take advantage of our stupidity by having it free.
So all of this, and the good thing is your cost will trend to 0 in terms of Bitcoin.
True.
You see all the sessions that we've already done, 23 of them. We keep adding them every week. I'm surprised. How did we do so many?
And we'll be making some changes to it. I think we got some plans for this community and some potential free stuff coming down the line. But with that, as we add more videos to it, add more content, we do more streams, there's more people in there, it obviously becomes more valuable. So we do absolutely intend to raise it from not only free today, but $30 and then to $50 and $60. So if you're interested in joining, the best time would be to do it today. Not just for the education, but for meeting other people around the world who have the same kind of vision as you for the future. You're on the same frequency as them. And also, just don't underestimate the power of knowing Bitcoiners from around the world, because again, playing this thing out into a couple of decades, these are going to be the wealthy people of the world. Bitcoiners are going to be the elites of the world in a couple of decades from now. If you agree with that, you should start probably meeting some.
The ones in the middle of the ocean?
The ones in the middle of the ocean. They're
boating accident.
You have to have a crazy amount of wealth to actually build something there and be able to sustain it. So like you're getting a connection to these people right here, which is amazing.
The guy's on a super yacht in the Atlantic. Yeah.
Yes. Camille says, how much is a lifetime membership? We base the lifetime membership off of 12 months worth of fees. So right now, I believe it would be just over $300 for a lifetime membership. So we'd send you a link. We have a lot of lifetime members in there. We send you the link, then you have lifetime forever access of it. No monthly fee, nothing. It's done in Bitcoin. So it's a little bit more private. But yeah, if you're serious about this stuff, join us. Join the three of us. Join the 150 or whatever we have in there, people from around the world. And let's do this thing together. That's the important part. If you do value your Bitcoin, it would be a wise decision. Let's just say that. So there's some questions here.
Oh, we
Are you guys going to sign up for Sat Chats? I don't know what that is. What is that, Daniel?
Never heard of it.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to go start the happy hour.
Yeah. Okay. Let's end it now. We'll end it now.
All right.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll see you in there. If not, you will be. Oh, there's Camille says, I want to join as a lifetime member. Okay. So I guess it's just me and Forrest here. So anyways, thanks everybody for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Hopefully it added some value, made you maybe think about things a little bit differently. And again, ways to support the channel. We don't have any ads on here. We don't have any sponsors on here, and we'd like to keep it that way. So one way you could support the community and obviously support yourself and further yourself is by joining the community. We also got the QR code there above Forrest's head. And if you are watching this on your cell phone and you would like to send us some value in return, you can send it to maplebitcoin@coinos.io. So big shout out to everybody over on Noster. I missed a couple zaps there from MIX and from Conrad. So thank you very much, fellas. Big shout out to Letha and Moravian for starting the day off right for us. And for everybody in the chat, a couple super chats and some good conversation today.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Forrest. We'll be back here next Friday, same time, same place, and we'll see you then.